not a vlogger, just like making videos. And you know what I'm saying, I was thinking about something, you know what I'm saying, I'm going about it the wrong way. Why go against the grain? Why put together dissertations making complete sense and using logic, you know, and accurate information that can be researched and backed by academia? You know what I'm saying? Why? Especially in the black sector of YouTube, you know. I was thinking about, you know what I'm saying, what if I just became an Uncle Ruckus? You know what I'm saying? Someone that is going to shame black people. You know what I'm saying? It makes logical sense. It seems easy, you know, just to get on camera and just point out black people's flaws and so forth, and shortcomings. I'm like, this only seems to be the logical conclusion, you know, and I'll get views. My views would go up, my subscribers would go up, and magically people would consider me some sort of intellectual, you know, some sort of mental juggernaut. I'm like, it's easy. You know, it's simple. I'm like, if there's like a big kind of like a racial kerfuffle going on in media, just shame black people. You know what I mean? I'm like, duh. I'm like, why didn't I think of this earlier? Why didn't I think of this sooner? You know, just talk about how bad black people are for simply reacting off of their emotions and so forth. I'm like, I can't. I'm like, just to have Republican conservative views without mentioning that you're a Republican or you're a conservative. It's easy, because if you're a Republican, then people are going to ask you also to criticize illegal immigrants and the whole entire gay and lesbian movement. You know, I know they're the same thing, but no, I just point out, just have real strong conservative ideas like a neocon, and then but not say that I am a Republican, so people aren't going to hold me to the fire of criticizing all the other types of people Republicans are known in lifestyles that Republicans are known for criticizing. I'll just criticize black people. That way I can just stay in my safe zone, because you know, when you criticize another group that you're not a part of, you know what I'm saying, you're going to get a whole lot of you know what I'm saying, a flack for it, you know what I'm saying, because you're not part of that group, and so therefore you want to stay safe, you know what I'm saying. I'm black, I have to criticize black. Also, not give black people any sort of individuality. You know, look at them as just a collective group. You know, look at them as souls that is part of a bigger being, like Gaia, you know, and so forth. And this is easy. And the funny thing is, when you do this, black people that have not even done anything, even blacks, you know, when I'll just sit there and talk about, hey, you black people, you kill each other and that. Black people who never picked up a gun will also hold their head in shame and take accountability for other black people that is actually that are degenerates, that are delinquents. You know what I'm saying? The innocent will take accountability for the guilty. Interesting. You know, I'm like, it's simple. You know, all I have to do is go on Well Star Hip Hop, look at the news, and find out what black people are doing and so forth, and then hold black people to shame for it. Criticize black people for voting for Obama, even though every president before him, white president, fully white president, has failed us. and that any and even the white presidents like John F. Kennedy, that, you know what I'm saying, that seemed like, you know what I'm saying, he was for our cause. He was assassinated. Oh, wait up, easy, back it up. That's right. John F. Kennedy didn't even allow Sammy Davis and his white wife to go to the invite them over to the White House. You know, so let's go into Republican views, and the Republicans, the Republican parties hasn't been too nice to black people. Matter of fact, the Republicans sabotaged us. Even John McCain's big titty daughter, and she does got some big tatas, you know, was talking about how the Republicans do things to undermine black people. I'm like, look at the 2000 elections with George W. Bush. You know, black people went out there and voted, you know what I'm saying, and they stole the election. Our vote didn't count. So, yeah, so this is interesting. And so, also, criticize the black woman. You know, criticize the black woman for things she hasn't even done yet. Criticize her for things her unborn child hasn't done yet. You know, talk about how white women are a better option, even though here in America, 50%, America has a 50% of divorce rate. Remember, black people aren't getting married. Also, talk about how white women are a better option, even though the divorce rate of black men and white women is much higher than the divorce rate of black men and black women. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Avoid facts and actual data as much as possible. Get on camera and talk about how black people don't read, but the typical American doesn't read. Matter of fact, 1 out of 5 Americans is illiterate. Black people only make up 13% of the population. So when they say 1 out of 5 Americans can't read, you know what I'm saying? Who are they talking about? Yeah, and so forth. Point out black race baiters, you know what I'm saying, and opportunists like Al Sharpton and Missy Jesse Jackson. You know, while completely ignoring the likes of Bill O'Reilly, Glenn Beck, Stephen Molyneux. I'm like, Glenn Beck stated that he thinks Obama doesn't like white people. If that's not race baiting, then what is? You know, and anytime there's a racial incident, whatever, Stephen Molyneux makes a video, you know what I'm saying, just to gain more subscribers and so forth. And so, and then when a white person does something that is clearly wrong, that's in clearly of a violation, you know what I'm saying, and black people react to it because there's no justice. Talk about how stupid, you know what I'm saying, and how delinquent black people are acting, you know what I'm saying, so forth, you know what I'm saying, how we acting like degenerates, just off reacting off human emotion. Talk about how much fools black people are for rioting, even though there's been riots all over the world. Matter of fact, there's just been a recent riot. White people just rioted. Some shit over pumpkins. You know, because you know they say as black people are into watermelon, white people are into pumpkins. But look the other way, just like that beach riot. You know, and on the riots in Europe and England, the riots that were in Athens and in Greece, Turkey and Egypt. Because you know what they say, especially here in America, there is a corruption at the highest mountain peak. And shit rolls downhill. Interesting. So the people at the lowest has to trudge their way through all this murky filth, and you don't think that they're going to react. I'm like, throughout human history, you had things such as the French Revolution, but I guess the French, they were just tearing up their own community, and so forth. The oligarchs are never responsible for anything. They play by the rules. It's just that the people at the lowest, somehow they just can't get their shit together, and it's their fault. Capitalism, blame the poor. And also, if you also have a hard time becoming an Uncle Ruckus and you need some more material, all you have to do is go to racist websites and see what they're saying about us. A lot of their cat calls about us and so forth, about them calling us beasts and boons and savages. Just echo that, regurgitate that same nonsense or whatever. Just recite what they're saying. Go over there, see what they're talking about, seeing how they talk about how us black people are low lives, and talk about our shortcomings, and then you get up there and you make a YouTube video and graft everything they're saying. It's that easy. And refer to black people as savages and Negroes and boons and minstrels and shines and beasties. And people will somehow consider you smart, even though nothing you said was original. And then, of course, you have to pretend white racism doesn't exist. Racism is a figment of the black man's imagination. Ignore white people's racism. But then when the black racists, like the new Black Panther Party and so forth, point at them, zero on them, ignore the fact that neo-Nazi music is more popular now than what it's ever been. Ignore the Ku Klux Klan, ignore the neo-Nazi movement, because all that is minuscule. That is nothing compared to the black racist, out here and so forth. Talk about the black family. Talk about how much things were better in the 50s and 60s, even though the blueprint was being laid out and things were for things to come, because it all started back there. Ignore the fact that whites did so many things in their power to degrade us, to disfranchise us, isolate us, and galvanize us. Ignore all the racial explosions that happened in those areas. Talk about how much better the black family was, when we was living under the iron fist of the white man. Like in that movie, The Great Debaters, how that the college Forrest Whitaker's character came across that pig farmer, and how that pig farmer made him seem like a boy in front of his own family. Ignore that. Talk about how great it was back in the days, even though some low-life, slew-footed, ignorant, illiterate, sweaty palms redneck can talk down to a black man who is well established, who has more money than him, that has a higher education than him, and talk down to him like he's nothing, like he's a boy. Ignore those elements. Also ignore capitalism. One of the main reasons why the black family, or even the American family, is withering away. Because remember, back in those days, a man can work one job, doesn't even need a high school diploma, work at a factory or a steel mill or a lumberyard, and make enough money to support a big family, and support a family of 7 kids, easily. But thanks to outsourcing and so forth, capitalism, jobs going overseas, it's harder and harder for the piker. So talk about the black community and how the black man has to control the economics in the community. And even though you don't have a black business, talk about supporting black businesses and so forth. So black people can economically rise, but when you absorb white people, big businesses constantly go over to places like the Philippines, Taiwan, Mexico, and so forth, instead of opening factories here in America to put Americans to work. They'll go overseas, you know what I'm saying, to get cheap labor. So ignore how capitalism has pretty much destroyed the fabric of American, it's destroying the fabric of American society, whatever. And the fact that in Europe, where socialism dominates, they say one man pulls for the other one. Here in America, it's you're on your own. It's every man for itself. Winner takes all. So, but yeah, I'm like, it's easy. It's simple. Why didn't I think of this before? Why didn't I just get on YouTube and shame black people in simple terms? Talk about how stupid they are, how they don't read books, about the crime, even when a white person commits or authoritarian figure, somebody that's sworn in by oath, to uphold their due diligence, and how and ignore their misconduct in shooting unarmed black men, and then talk about how idiotic black people are for reacting a certain way. And then if black people aren't rioting, or if they riot to a minimum, exaggerate it. Make it seem like a whole lot worse than what it actually is. I'm like, it's this simple. Ignore crucial blocks in American history. Avoid these jumps. Avoid certain things about in 1974, as recent as 74, about how white people was upset, so-called, East Coast white people, because I guess they're supposed to be a certain ilk, and white people down south, something about the when black kids, when they was integrating schools, and how white people got mad. Ignore the fact that white people was threatening blacks and so forth, threatening to bomb and kill blacks and so forth. Ignore all the things all the trauma black people went through to get us to this position and so forth. You talk about how great the black family was, but why did the black family dissolve? Ignore all the black men that was thrown in jail for no reason. As the great Native Americans say, the past shapes the future. There's no other way to look at it. But thanks for watching, and Sally.